Serious, what's something someone said that absolutely crushed you? I'm so sad because I won't be there when you get married, said my granny when she was terminally sick.
I was working in a grocery store and saw someone buying something that I had a manufacturer's coupon for $1 off. This is in a very nice neighborhood and this was an older lady with money. So I say, here you go, $1 off. She looked shocked and said, this is the nicest thing that someone has done for me in years, with sincerity and a hint of heartbreak. I was rendered speechless. I think about her every time I hand a coupon to someone and hope nobody says that to me again.
I contacted a woman I dated when I was 18. She had apparently tried to find me for a long time and gave up. She told me that when we broke up she moved away and found out she was pregnant. She gave birth and raised him with some new man. I never knew she got pregnant. When he was 21 he was at college and got killed in a car wreck. So in one day I found out I had a son and that he died, and he and I never got the chance to meet. It was so devastating. She sent me pictures and he looked a lot like me. How do you mourn a child you never met and didn't know you had?
A guy friend of mine told my best friend that he would FK me, but only from behind so he doesn't have to see my face. Still to this day I'm terrified of people thinking that I'm ugly, and I don't really believe people when they say I'm pretty.
When I was 19, I told my girlfriend at the time that I spent my whole day playing guitar and writing a whole song. I was fairly proud of myself, as I really struggled with finishing things I started, still do. She responded by saying something like, wow, that's a waste of a whole day. Really hurt.
Going to a 20-week pregnancy scan. There's no heartbeat.
My older sister was suicidal in high school and tried to kill herself more than once. I only learned this in my adulthood since my family tried to protect me from knowing when I was young. Anyway, she was running away from home one night and I helped her pack and sneak out. After she left, I saw my mom sitting on the living room couch in the dark, drinking wine. My mom asked, where is she? I replied, she's gone. My mom then said, is she dead? That scene and those words still haunt me. I knew nothing about her suicidal tendencies and had never for a second considered her dying.
I liked the thought of loving you. This was after a 3-year-long relationship with someone that I thought loved me. Lesson learned.
My grandfather once told me I needed to get my beep together. He wasn't angry, he wasn't being condescending, he actually meant it constructively, and for some reason it stuck with me long after he's passed, and I'd like to think he'd be happy with the way I turned out in the end.
My mum was very sick, and was expected to pass away soon at the time. The call I missed at 4 a.m. was that she was about to go. Found out that I missed a final goodbye after talking to my sister when I woke up. This was 16 years ago now.
My mother's mental illness was flaring up really badly when I was a kid, and she got super pissed at me over something and told me she'd get me a rope for my 13th birthday, which was a couple of days or a week or so away, so I could get rid of myself and then the family could be happier. I hadn't been officially diagnosed yet, but I was already struggling with symptoms of depression, so that was pretty rough. That's usually what I hear when I'm having suicidal thoughts.
I'm not so sure about the context, but I said to a friend that they don't know me very well. We argued about the reason, and then out of nowhere he hit me with, "You are an open book, but the book is so uninteresting that nobody bothers to read it." Yeah. That must be it.
My ex told me that the reason my best friend of 15 plus years wasn't talking to me is because he was too afraid to face me and tell me that they were sleeping together since our breakup and got pregnant.
My wife's dog one cold January Saturday morning yelped, then collapsed. After a horrifically beep-up drive from one closed or understaffed vet to the next, I finally got him to one on the outskirts of town. The vet told me, "I'm sorry, it's too late." Haunts me to this day.
14-year-old me at my Saturday morning babysitting gig when brother arrives to tell me our 46-year-old dad never woke up.
I had a teacher say, "I don't expect much from those who have no future, but I thought you were different."
My wife and I have been struggling to have kids. I did the sperm test. The test said I had an above average sperm count and above average motility. I was giddy about it. It got brought up like a week later and I was still giddy about it. My wife was in a bad mood and said if my stuff was actually that good she'd be pregnant already. Crushed me. Edit, all of my wife's test results had already come back normal as well. I'd have never been so happy about my own results if we were still waiting on hers. Didn't expect this many comments, and this keeps coming up.
When I was in college, my parents' church partially funded my mission trip to Honduras. The condition was I had to give a slideshow and presentation of photos when I came back. I was nervous AF because I hate being the center of attention and speaking in public, but I made it through and thought I did a good job. So after I finished, the minister came up to me and said, blah blah blah. I was like, what? And he said, that's what you sounded like up there. I couldn't understand a word. Literally set me back decades in my confidence on speaking in front of other people. Still at age 45 I think about that before I have to do it.
When my ex-wife miscarried our first child, I told my mum and she told me that it was my fault she'd lost the baby.
A brother said, I can't believe that I actually looked up to you.
So I'm half Slovak by heritage. Was raised by family that essentially lived in a Slovak and Polish enclave in the States for multiple generations. So despite being a third-gen American, I got a lot of knowledge and appreciation for my heritage and traditions. My middle name is Ivan. But, being Slavic, it's pronounced Eevan. In first grade the teacher was going around the room asking us all to share our middle names. Gets to me, and proudly say, Ivan. Teacher goes, Ivan? That's a girl's name, and starts laughing really hard and tells me to go home and ask my parents what my middle name really is. All of my classmates laughed along with her. I suddenly realized that my name wasn't normal, and as a kid who over time struggled to accept himself as gay, I was terrified and ashamed of anything that made me girly in my peers' eyes. I told people that my middle name was Ivan for years because I was so embarrassed and worried about being called girly. Till I got to 9th grade and realized that she's dumb and Slavs are badass.
Surgeon told me, we couldn't save her.
Seems kind of silly in comparison to a lot of things here, but I've always loved movies. Can't get enough of them. I tend to talk about them a lot. Little facts and trivia, stuff I liked or didn't. They excite me, and I feel like movies are a common enough attraction that it's easy to talk to people about them. So I often bring them up with everyone, including family. There was a time I was in the midst of a real rough patch with my family. I'd been outed by someone at the church we were attending, just as I was only beginning to come to terms and acceptance of myself being gay, and during a family sit-down discussion, airing of Beep, I brought up feeling very ousted from my family and also feeling very alone and friendless for many reasons, one of them being that I don't feel like a particularly fun or interesting person. My older brother, who I once adored to no end, said without hesitation, well, have you ever thought about shutting up about movies for once in your life and finding literally anything else to talk about? It's been 11 years, and to this day I have a hard time discussing my greatest passion with anyone without feeling embarrassed.
Someone literally said to me, do you even exist? They were a housemate's guest. I'm kinda quiet sometimes. I'll never unhear it.
Yeah. I was 15, and my best friend and neighbor for my entire life had died in a car crash. Someone called and told me, but I laughed at them because I had just been to his house a few hours earlier and he was fine. I told my mom, and she said it was probably nothing, so I went on with my day. Then she came home and there was a knock on the door. She called me into the room, and the look on her face gave it away. All she could muster was yeah. But that was plenty enough to send my world spiraling down around me. It's been almost 6 years without him, and nothing's ever been the same. Rest in peace, my dude.
You're a failure and you always will be.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.